but it's an important game in the season, and we got to have it. And so I think it's two teams that are playing for in an important game just for the regular season. So I think the backstory is going to have to take a back seat, just for the challenge of getting a win.
Some of the players, everyone's saying that, everybody's got a Sean Payton story. You got a good one, what you remember kind of about playing for him?
I think I have a ton, but I don't necessarily.
Well, your best one.
Yeah, I don't necessarily want to share them, but I got a lot. Yeah, I don't have nothing to share.
Did you ever have he's legendary game day. I mean, did he ever, for a guy like you, it seems like it'd be rare for him to have a game day Sean experience with you. Did you ever have anything?
I think everybody had a game day Sean story.
Really?
Yeah.
Was it different at all? I mean, he's an offensive specialist. Is it different for a player playing defense than maybe on offense? Did he get on the defensive players as much as he did the offensive players, or what?
Yeah, I mean, he was the head coach, so he got on everybody when he was here, and I imagine that's the same with any head coach. They're not just focused on their side of the ball; they have to be focused on the big picture. That's certainly how DA is as a head coach. He's having to focus on the big picture. He's not just defensive coordinator, and so. I think it's going to be a totally different light. It's like I went against Sean in practice, and he's one of the best offensive play callers that I've ever been around. Certainly learned a lot from playing defensive position and going against him. It's going to be a unique challenge going against him on Sunday, and I know he's going to have all his guns up, and he's going to be ready to go.
What did he mean for your career? Playing for Sean Payton.
I have had a ton of great coaches that meant a lot to me in my career. Certainly, the success I've had. As a player here with the Saints, and he was the first coach I've had, and for the past 3 years, been with DA. So I'm grateful for all the coaches that I've had. I think I played for one of my old head coaches last week, and Todd Bowles. You know what I'm saying? And I got drafted by Rex, and so I think been blessed to have a ton of great head coaches. And so I respect all of them the same, but I think it's going to be a unique challenge coming in this week. Not just because he's our old, head coach, but he's an extremely great coach, and he's going to have those guys ready to go.
You were there on the field with Spencer, but you obviously want to put him in the best position possible. What's different, if anything, for you guys as a defense, knowing that you have such an inexperienced quarterback out there for you guys?
I think we believe in him. He's a guy that takes the field with a ton of confidence, and as you saw last week, he made a ton of plays, and so we know he can get the job done. I think the offensive coaches do a great job of setting him up for success. I think our job is the same every week, is to get the guys on offense the ball as much as possible and put them in favorable field position. That doesn't change no matter who it is on the field, and I don't think inexperience really plays a factor in our game as much as it used to. Like, you see a lot of the top guys in our league are young guys, so I don't think that's a limiting factor.
Thank you.
Anything that stands out to you about Spencer when he was on the scout team against first team defense? Is that right?
Yeah.
Anything in particular when he would make a play against you guys stand out?
I mean, he's just a confident player. He can make all the throws. Very talented. A lot of swagger. Can make some amazing throws. And I think he put it on display last week. The type of player that he can be.
Cam mentioned yesterday that with Sean Payton, he's a guy that when he senses that there's blood in the water, like, he's going to attack that. Like, how much as a defense, obviously knowing him and knowing his personality, do you have to be even more aware of that?
Yeah, if it's a hole, he's going to try to find it. And I think that any offensive coordinator is trying to do that, and the best ones do it well, and he's one of the best. And so if there's a hole, he's going to try to find it. If there's a tendency that he can exploit, he's going to try to find it. If it's a player that has a unique weakness, he's going to try to find it. And I think he takes a lot of pride in being able to do that. And so, as an offensive minded guy, he's gonna try to exploit the defense where he can. I think that's not unique to what you face across the league. I think it's just an extremely great challenge because it's Sean Payton, and he's one of the best to ever do it.
When you watch Denver on tape this week, are you seeing a lot of things that you saw from here? How much difference would you say there is, and how much do you see that? Oh yeah, he was running that here.
Yeah, he has a lot of the same things that he was doing, but he's evolved as a coach. He's not the same play caller, and he shifts with his talent. You know, he doesn't have the quarterbacks that he had here. He has a different quarterback, and that's what I respect about him. He's always able to evolve around the personnel that he has. He has some really great players, some really great receivers. They're getting the ball to him in areas where of their strength. They got some very talented running backs, getting those guys the ball in space and allowing them to make plays. The offensive line is doing good, and the quarterback's playing at a high level. And so he's finding a way to create success with the guys he has.
Demario, how simple or complex is the cleanup when it comes to the tackle? We've heard it for a couple of weeks. Maybe the final score made it a little bit more warped than it is. How simple or complex is it?
I think you got to find a way to be consistent, doing all things well, not just tackling. You know, I think defensively it'll always come down to how well can you stop the run, how well can you get off the field on third down, and how can you be clean in the red zone and take the ball away. And I think we're doing a good job of taking the ball away, but we're not being as consistent in stopping the run, situational football. And so we got to find a way to do it. We've done it well at certain times. We've stopped the run extremely well, and when we do that, we have a ton of success. We've got off the field on third down. We've you know, had very good red zone percentages at times. I think it's just finding a way to be that consistent team all the time. I think that's why our process has to be around, the high level of focus.
I'm sure I was a little late. I'm sure you answered a question similarly, but I mean, seeing that you guys are 32nd in the league, is that in yards allowed? Is that a shock to your system? I mean, is it so against sort of this personality you guys have established around here? So.
I mean, I'm big on being process oriented, and so I think that's why I spend a ton of my time. I think when you get your process right, the results will take care of themselves, and I think you have to be realistic about the results and what you're looking at, and be honest with what it says. And but then you have to figure out in your process what needs to be tweaked, or what needs to be changed, or what needs to be given more emphasis. And I think as an individual, that's always been my approach. And you know, finding a plan to when things aren't going your way, a lot of times it's getting back to the fundamentals. And I think we have a system that works. It's proven to work. And I think getting back to the fundamentals and making sure that we're doing the little things right will take care of itself.
Was it? See, those of us who've covered you for a long time. I mean, spent most of the last 7 years writing about how favorably the Saints defense compared to the rest of the league. We'd always look at that same number, and always be in the top 10. Was it? So it's a little jarring to us to kind of look at it and go, oh my God, I haven't seen that, you know, in a long time. I mean, did it affect you in any way to see it, or did you just kind of blow it off and say it's not really something I need to worry about?
I mean, I'm not results oriented. I'm process oriented. So my focus is on what needs to clean up in my individual process, and I think numbers can always change. There have been moments in the season where we weren't, you know, doing extremely well, but by the end of the season we were back top 10. And I think that what we did was we stayed true to the process, and I think that doesn't change. I think when you are results oriented, you can get too high when the numbers say one thing, or you can get too low when the numbers say something that's not. And I think that's a poor way to live, and I think it's a poor way to lead. And I don't want my mindset to be dictated on what my results say as much as I want my process to be right. Because it's like life, you know, life you can do everything right and get the wrong result. And you might change something that you shouldn't have changed. And so I try to pay attention to the process now. Now the results are there. It's saying something. It's giving you an indicator, like the indicator light on your car. You know, it's like when it comes on, something might need to change, and you just got to identify why that light is on and fix it and move on. And I think that's how I operate.
Was there anything the indicator light showed in this Tampa Bay game other than fundamental football things like tackling and you know, I mean, was there anything that there was a big warning light on to let that game get that?
It's execution. I think it's execution and consistency. I think when you have a system that works and it's proven, you know, it's not like we haven't done the things at a high level. We've had moments where we were stopping the run at a high level. We've had moments where we were getting off the field on third down. We had moments in the red zone, so it works and it's possible and it's there and the pieces are there. How do you create the consistency? And I think in a lot of ways that's the $1 million question, because it comes down to the mental aspect of focus. But I think that's where we individually have to take the ownership of, okay, how do I create that that consistency in my individual performance and allow that to be collective.
So much about like falling on the individual play. Does there also need to be a collective message too, or is it just really worry about like self-reflect and then all come together?
No, I think you can have a lot of meeting of the minds and all that, but at the end of the day, the game is played inside the white lines, and it comes down to it's not like there's this lofty thing that we're trying to find. It really just comes down to execution, and the execution comes from focus. And if you can be focused, snap over snap over snap, you'll have a chance to be successful.